For the latest top tips, reviews and advice, please subscribe below.
Hello and welcome to Attwoolls Outdoors with me, Mike. Today I'm giving you a bit of a review video on an exciting new driveway awning from Isabella. So with me here today I've got the Isabella Ventura Vita Air driveway. So the Vita Air kind of is a new model kind of in Isabella's collection. It's designed really to hit sort of be functional driveway, and it almost is a bit of a different version to their long-running kind of extension model. The joys of it's designed to be is actually that it kind of is a little bit more flexible, has the ability to add annexes into it, but size-wise it's not too different, or it's a completely different concept in the way it actually looks. So it's actually available to fit a range of vehicles, so it doesn't matter if you've got small little VW or Ford Custom Transit, your Ducato kind of panel style van, or your big sort of motorhome. There is a separate tunnel section to fit each. What we're looking at here is Isabella have used their new kind of sort of Ventura material, so it's a really nice sort of kind of lightweight but still very durable material itself. It's made from basically a polyester fabric, but it's got really the features and texture of kind of their kind of well-known kind of acrylic material. The way the fabric is dyed, it's still dyed in what we call like a dope dye method. So this is where they dye the yarn before it's woven into actually thread. Now, this is important because we talk about the difference between, say, a carrot and a radish when you cut them in half. So your carrots being cut all the way colour all the way through. That's what we've got with the Isabella, whereas most of the brands will do it in a radish kind of thing when you cut in half. Colours on the outside, white in centre. This is important basically because as the product and awning is up for a period of time, the UV sunlight basically breaks down the outer layer, and what you find is on other brands you tend to find it's a lot more sort of faded or washed out, and with Isabella you don't get that. That's one of the things that, you know, is kind of not only with the quality that we kind of known and love with Isabella for many years, this is an extra thing, there's a reason why you can buy an Isabella. Now, the Vita is actually completely inflatable, so it's an air awning. You've got a single inflation point located sort of in the middle, and then you've got deflation points as well. So it's very easy to get the air in and to get the air out. We will eventually be doing a pitching video on this as well, showing you how quick, simple and easy it really is to pitch. So definitely have a look out for that on our YouTube channel and our website as well. Now, as standard, it comes with an electric pump. So electric pump itself, digital display, you set it up to sort of 8 psi, which is kind of recommendation. Press it and it'll go off and then obviously cut out when it gets to the right pressure. Runs off a cigarette lighter, so it runs off your car or your inlet, depending on what you look at. You can also buy a power bank separately if you really want to. Different brand, not Isabella, but it gives you that functionality of being able to do it. Now, they've used a TPU tube again, so a really nice reliable tube, and we've got a really reinforced double-layered casing for the tube sits in. So again, reliability is one of the crucial things. You have a 2-year warranty as standard, but you can get a 3rd year free when you buy basically register with Isabella itself. But it's the way they've done the construction of things is a little bit different as well. They've kind of spent a real amount of time and effort on getting that quality just right, just making sure it's reliable. Now, yeah, it's a single beam does the whole section itself. Now, you have the flexibility with the Vita that you can actually remove all of the panels, so it can become like a standalone gazebo. It could just basically be a roof section. This also helps to reduce the overall pack size, or split it off if you wanted to as well, so you can sort of keep it, you know, put all the panels in one end, the main body in another. So if you're a bit short for space, I know certainly with things like the VW style vans, you are sometimes a little bit limited on what you can actually do. And when you get Ducatos and things like that, you generally tend to have a little bit more space on that side of things, but you have that flexibility. It comes in one bag as standard, and it runs around about sort of, it's about 27.89 kilograms to be precise. And the bag size is about sort of 110 by about sort of approximately that really. But one thing we'll notice when we go in a second is just the sheer amount of space inside of it. It's amazing because even though it's technically, so it's a 330 wide awning, 270 depth in the main body, and then there's 90 centimeters for the tunnel. And that's the same regarding on what vehicle you go for. The tunnel depth's always the same. But when you walk inside, you'll see inside we've got a table and chairs. It just feels so spacious, and it's remarkable to think it's the same width as the actual extension they do. It just feels bigger. I think maybe because the sides are a little bit boxy, or the headroom as well works really quite well. Storm straps actually come included as standard as well. So you pretty much get a majority of the things you actually will need for it. So you get your storm straps, your obviously electric pump. The only thing to be looked at as an option next would be some things like the flooring. Now, what you have the ability on sort of either side, you can see this really nice big mesh panel. So and you can have a drop down window to get that sort of watertight seal. There's a doorway section here as well. So you can kind of orientate it depending how you want to. You can also come in this as an entrance point, or that way. Now, There is also an optional annex that can go on either end. So if you wanted to almost, for like a motorhome that, make it your sort of main hub, living area, and then accommodate either storage or sleeping, you can look at that doing that as well. So it can be, in theory, longer than the actual motorhome itself. The tunnel itself, it basically has 3 different heights. So they do an S, an M, and an L. The S will basically go from 180 to 2 meters, the M from 240 to 260, and then the L is 260 to 280. So depending on what vehicle you kind of will go for, naturally your S is going to be more for your VW camper vans, then your M is going to be for more your panel vans, and then your L is basically going to be for your taller motorhomes. So the ones it has a dual beading on there as well, so it'll go into a winder awning as well as a normal kind of C-rail, so you've got that sort of flexibility. There's a webbing strap on the inside there which allows you to have a bit of adjustment as well, so that gives you the adjustment on the 20 centimeters. But one thing I do really quite like is the fact the tunnel is completely detachable. So like I say, it can become a completely standalone gazebo, and more importantly, when you actually come to attach it to the vehicle and drive away, it makes life a little bit simpler. Mainly because you're going directly into the rail itself, so you get a better connection because you're directly in. You're not going for a fixing kit which is going to slide and not necessarily be as watertight. You get a better tension in the tunnel section because you can come down or come up. Naturally, the tunnel is designed that it's a bit higher in the centre, so water is designed to shed out and off it. You've also still got doors on either side as well, so you can enter the main sort of habitational side of it without having to go through the actual main part of the awning. So getting accessibility is really quite nice and easily. But when you want to come and drive away, what you're simply going to do is just detach the tunnel from the awning itself, slide it out the rail, drive off, come back, put it in and reattach the zip again. So it's much more of a simple process and works really quite well. What we'll do actually, let's head on round inside and talk for a few more features that the Vita has to offer. So now on the side of it, you can probably see just the sheer space. Like I said, bear in mind it's a 2.7 depth. It feels bigger. Again, space headroom wise, I think because everything is very boxy, it's just a really nice kind of place to be. And you can see how we've got it set up here. You can have a table and chairs on one side. This can be kind of your living quarters. This is kind of your main point to and from the van. But you can have the flexibility of obviously removing that panel if you wanted to, zip that panel in, and that's kind of the front section. So you've got a lot of choice what you want to do. Again, what you can also do as well is the 2 side panels here can interchange. The reason that's important because it moves this door here from rather than being on the left hand side, it will be on the right hand side, so you can use that as an exit or entrance way out. So again, there's little things that have a lot of flexibility. Now, like I said, you've got a single welded tube the whole way through. You've got little points located there, so there's an optional roofline you can look at as well, or you can use that as hanging points for sort of things like lanterns and that sort of stuff as well. The zips you've got there are really quite a nice spiral chain zip, so it's like an easy system around the side. As from previous dimensions, the panels can be completely removed if you really want to as well. Now, one thing to bear in mind is there's also a PVC, hardware and PVC kind of skirts located on the bottom. So again, you can tuck that underneath the carpet, get that overlap. So the carpet, like I say, is an optional extra. It would just be the bare ground in there if you want to. Keeps the campsite happy by having that breathable flooring. There's a tailor-made kind of edged carpet that can go down here as well in a nice kind of light colour, so that's really quite good. Hanging point, again, directly there for a lantern. You just run the cables directly through. Other things to point out is where you get one veranda pole included with the Vita, which you may have saw from the outside. So you can use that, and you've got little veranda points on the front 2 panels. So depending on how you want to create the setup, you can also look to do that as well. Your curtains come included as standard, kind of like a soft touch curtain. You can move across and sort of attach and detach from there as well. And then you've got little buckles located on the sides here. So if you want to roll the door back and again keep that open, you can more than happily do that, like I said, or zip like we have on the front panel, just zip it off completely to go from there. Now, depending on whether the orientation of your van, whether your sliding door, if that's the front of your vehicle, your sliding door goes that way, of course you can mirror that. So you can almost leave this panel in, undo that, and then that will kind of come in your corridor. So you just, again, flip this orientation around kind of the other way itself. Now, with the quality that Isabella do in terms of their workmanship, again, it's quite a bit like anything else. So every single pegging point, for example, has a reinforcement patch to it, and it's actually kite stitched on. So again, it's really hard wearing. You've got the elasticated points on, which we know from Isabella's main range as well. So you can replace those if over time, or just keep them really quite smart. Other things to point out, again, the tube structure is also very vertical. I mean, like, I'm right by the side panel here. I can stand up, and being about 6'2", I am directly under that. So I think that's why it feels as big as it necessarily does. But what we'll do, let's move the camera into the kind of tunnel section, just to kind of show you what that looks like. So what actually I'm going to do, let's go through and look for it from the back section here. So as we kind of see it, this is with it now, because there's obviously there's no real front or back to it, depending on which way you look at it. So you can pretty much do, set it up as you wish. We can see we've got the rolled up mesh window there and the door panel there. Now we've got a tunnel section so we can go into the van, as previously mentioned, through the side door, and naturally it creates a little bit of storage area because you can leave one panel in, one panel out, so you've got a little bit of a corridor there, and again, that can be flipped over the either side if you wanted to. Now in terms of connecting it to the vehicle, like I say, you go into the channel directly at the top. What you've also got here is a webbing strap, so that gives you a bit more adjustment. There's even an elasticated cord on this point here, again, just to get it looking really nice and tight against the vehicle. As you can see probably from this section here, again, sits really smartly. I mean, there's no reason you couldn't additionally buy some extra punch holes to sort of create some suckers or use magnets on your bodywork. But you can see the zip here goes kind of all the way around, and then it goes up to a higher point there. So, like I say, naturally, the water is designed to sort of shred off that way. Again, we've got little things like the clasp points. We can get focus on this if we can. In fact, let's look at the fabric itself to give you a better feel of the woven width of it. So it's got like a kind of grey texture to it. There you go. So you can see how that's kind of different. Again, it has like a feel and a handle of everything like that. So you've got your spiral chain zips, big oversized zips, and then we've got a little clasp again to kind of keep everything neat and tidy. Again, just even things like the quality of the PVC they kind of use is really quite nice. And then you've got a zip tunnel which goes on there. There's a bit of a baffle over there as well. So it's designed to try and deflect the water away from the actual zip, because naturally zips aren't kind of waterproof. And then even the pegging points again, reinforcement points located down there, elasticated cords. But again, it's kite stitched into that main section. And when you look at any single pegging point on an Isabella, they have got an extra bit of material reinforced into it, just to make sure it's actually grasping something, and it's got something to sort of give it a bit more bite into it itself. Like I said, from this angle, you can see, kind of the setup we've got there works really well. As you can see how the tunnel jumps up. But again, because you've got the solid, basically the beams in the roof structure going the whole way, it's really easy to get, well, you're never going to really not get the sort of roof stuff looking really quite smart. Sawn straps, like I say, come supply with it itself, so they come all the way through directly like that. But you can see really when you're looking at it out from the van, again on this particular model, because it's like a 3.3 wide, it's going to fit similar to what we've got the extension next door. And as we kind of come around, in terms of like how much depth it comes out, again, decent sort of depth out, should in theory fit, on a standard pitch, shouldn't be an issue. The side panels, like I said, can completely be removed, and then you can look to add this optional annex onto the end of it. So that will go on either end of it, depending on which orientation you kind of have it. And again, same sort of thing. This is an inflatable structure. There's a roof poles rotating there, and the storm straps can supply with it. Big old window at the back as well. There isn't an inner bedroom included with it as standard, but you can buy additionally, just to give you a bit of an idea of what that looks like. There you go. So that, again, you can go on either end. So you can use it for storage or extra living space if you really wanted to. But so far, actually, one thing I will mention actually from the price point of view. So if you consider what the price of the Vita is, it's actually very similar to the price of the actual extension. So you're basically picking and choosing kind of whether you want something that's going to be a bit bigger. Maybe it doesn't quite have the exact same fabric as the your extension, but there's an awful lot of functionality here. And again, from a space point of view, it's a bit, I think we're talking marginal difference between the pricing. Naturally, it's going to vary a bit, so I don't want to say a price now if it naturally change itself. But it's definitely one more we have on at our indoor display showroom. So if you want more questions, queries, what you can do is always comment in the box below, or if you follow a link below this video, it'll take you straight through to our website with more information, things like the back sizes, floor dimensions, individual features all listed as well. That pitching video we'll be doing will be located on there as well, showing you how quick, simple and easy it really is to connect and disconnect for that point. But no, I think, I don't know, it's a bit astounding when, again, Isabella, with the quality that they give, it's quite surprising you get something this kind of high end and looking as smart as this and as taut as this for the price point. So yeah, for me, as you can probably tell, I'm quite impressed, and I think it's going to be a really popular model. Just I think it's got a lot more flexibility. It's unlike anything else really on the market in a way. I think in just the way it looks. The nearest thing I'd probably say to it would be something like Tauter's Core range. That's probably the only thing I think it's. But even that's slightly different in terms of its feel. You know, we've had people who use the extension just in the garden for a gazebo, so it can just become a gazebo. Literally, sit the tunnel off, and it is just a tunnel section. And you could put a bedroom on the back, so in theory it could be a tent. You know, so it's got lots of flexibility on that point of view. But well, yeah. For more information, check the link below. Hope it's been helpful, and we'd love to hear from you guys as well. So feel free to comment in the box below. But that's been our video review on the brand new Isabella Ventura, the Vita Air Driveaway.